Hi, I'm Simon, 19, and for my 18th birthday, I ate leftover spaghetti alone in my room while my parents toasted champagne at a charity gala they couldn't reschedule. Here's how it started. I'd known my birthday wasn't going to be some grand production. I'm not delusional. My sister got a catered backyard luau for hers, but I figured I'd at least get my favorite lemon cake and one evening where I wasn't invisible. Just one. 18 is supposed to mean something. Right? So when I walked into the kitchen that morning and saw no banner, no card, not even a damn balloon, I waited. Maybe it was a surprise. Maybe they were hiding it. I opened the fridge, spotted a Tupperware of Tuesday's spaghetti, and thought, they're stalling. They've got something planned. They didn't. By 6 p.m., my mom was posting Instagram stories from the gala, her in a floor-length navy gown holding a flute of champagne, my dad in his rental tux doing that exaggerated laugh he saves for donors. The caption: "So grateful to celebrate love, legacy, and generosity tonight. Legacy." Meanwhile, I ate cold pasta and scrolled through birthday messages from people who only remembered because Snapchat told them to. Around 8:30, I cracked and texted my mom. Me. Hey, any chance we're doing anything later? Mom. Oh honey, is today your actual birthday? We thought it was Saturday. Me. It's today. Mom. Oh no. Well, we'll do something this weekend. Don't be dramatic. Don't be dramatic. I turned 18, officially became an adult, and my parents forgot. Or maybe they remembered and just deprioritized me. Again. That night I made a list. It wasn't revenge. It was clarity. At the top I wrote what they taught me. How to fake a smile while watching someone else get what you needed. How silence can scream louder than shouting. That love has terms. And some of us never quite meet them. I didn't cry. I just got quiet. Focused. And I started thinking ahead. Because 3 weeks later was their 25th wedding anniversary. And they were throwing a party. A very public one. And guess who they asked to give a toast? They asked me to give a toast. Just a few words, Simon, my dad said, like he was assigning me homework. Something heartfelt about family. You're the writer in the house. Which is rich, coming from the man who never read a single word I wrote, even when I got published in the school lit mag. But suddenly, I'm the voice of the family. The party was at this rented event space downtown. Glass walls, string lights, an open bar they kept reminding everyone was donated by a generous friend. There were catered hors d'oeuvres being passed around on trays like confetti, and a slideshow of their wedding photos playing in the background on loop, set to some piano cover of Bittersweet Symphony. Everyone wore soft smiles and satin. My mom's dress matched the hydrangeas. My dad had a speech ready about partnership and sacrifice. I had something else. I spent the 3 weeks leading up to it writing my toast in secret. Not practicing in front of the mirror, not running it by anyone. Just me, my notes app, and the quiet hum of every skipped birthday, every redirected hug, every time they said, "We just thought you were fine." I almost backed out, not because I lost my nerve, but because I wanted to believe maybe this year would be different. That they'd pull me aside and say, "We were wrong, Simon. We love you. We see you." But they didn't. Instead, they introduced me from the mic like I was a wedding DJ. "And now," my dad said, half laughing, "our son Simon has a few words. You know, the dramatic one." The dramatic one. Laughter. A few claps. I walked up in silence. I looked out at the room, their friends, their colleagues, even my sister with her boyfriend who somehow got a +1. Everyone turned to me like I was about to deliver some teary-eyed praise about what a great example they'd set. Instead, I cleared my throat, looked down at my paper, and began. I was asked to speak about love. So I want to tell you what I've learned from watching this marriage. I've learned that love can be selective. That sometimes, the people you need most are already looking the other way, waiting for the camera to focus, the guest list to grow, the applause to swell. I've learned that a house can be full and still feel like no one's home. That you can be a child in a family that smiles in photos, and still feel like a prop. But I've also learned something else. I've learned how not to treat the people I care about. I've learned what silence can do. What forgetting a birthday can say. What being called dramatic really means. And for that, I want to say thank you. Because your example has shown me exactly the kind of man I won't be. The kind of parent I refuse to become. The kind of love I won't settle for. I paused. You could hear the air shift. A fork dropped. Then I raised my glass. So, to my parents, thank you for the lessons. Every single one. And I drank. The applause? It wasn't for them. It was slow, hesitant, and then real. From the people in the room who knew exactly what I meant. A couple cousins. My old English teacher. Even my sister, who caught my eye with this weird, unreadable look. Like she just saw me for the first time. My parents didn't clap. They didn't even move. They just stared, frozen, trying to decide whether to smile or implode. That was the first time I ever saw my dad speechless. The party didn't explode right away. It wilted. After my toast, the room didn't erupt in chaos, it just shifted. People avoided my parents' eyes. Conversation softened into murmurs. The pianist missed a few notes during. At last, I walked off stage and didn't head back to my seat. I walked right out the side door, into the alley, into the November cold that hit like a slap. 10 minutes later, my sister followed. She had her heels in her hand and this tight, unreadable look on her face. That was something, she said. I stayed quiet. The back of my throat still felt raw. I hadn't practiced saying any of it aloud. I think I wanted it to sting more that way, for me too. She stepped next to me, leaned against the brick wall. They're freaking out in there, she said. Dad's red. Like cartoon red. I'm not surprised. You kinda lit them up. I didn't lie. She paused. No, you didn't, she admitted. You just said all the stuff we've never said out loud. That hit harder than I expected. You feel it too? I asked, stupidly hopeful. She looked at me, and for a second, I saw the little girl who used to sneak Oreos under the table to me when I got grounded for dumb stuff, who taught me how to fake sleep when Dad came home mad. I've always felt it, she said. I just got good at pretending I didn't. We stood in silence. Cold creeping in. Then she asked, You think you burned the bridge? I thought about it. About my dad's face as I spoke. My mom's frozen smile. The way either of them moved when I walked away. I think I just stopped pretending there was one, I said. She nodded slowly, like that answer made sense. We didn't go back inside. Instead, we sat on the back steps and split a granola bar from her purse. At one point she pulled her phone out, saw a text, and showed me. It was from our mom. Tell your brother he ruined everything. I laughed. Not bitter, just done. Funny, I said. I didn't think there was anything left to ruin. We didn't talk much after that. But when we stood up to leave, she hugged me tight, the kind of hug we hadn't done in years, and said, Whatever happens after this, I'm still your sister. That meant more than I'll admit. The next morning, I found myself locked out of our family's group chat. The one titled, Team Winslow Red Heart. Cute. I got no texts. No angry emails. Not even a passive-aggressive. We need to talk. Just silence. Except for one thing. My grandma, Dad's mom, sent me a message. Just 6 words. I'm proud of you. Keep going. That broke me a little. In a good way. Because I thought no one would get it. That I'd be the villain, the ungrateful kid. The one who ruined a perfect night with his emotional baggage. But I wasn't the only one who saw the cracks in the frame. I wasn't the only one tired of smiling through it. Over the next week, a few cousins reached out. 2 of my teachers emailed. One of my mom's friends messaged me privately. What you said, I wish someone had said that at my parents' anniversary too. And suddenly, I wasn't the quiet one anymore. I was the one who said it. Said what we all knew and no one ever dared name. It wasn't revenge. Not really. It was a blueprint. A map for getting out. The fallout came quietly. No doors slammed. No screaming voicemails. Just a slow retreat. My mom stopped tagging me in her family first posts. My dad removed me from the Apple family calendar. My sister told me he still ranted about me at dinner, but only in these vague terms, like I was an unfortunate business deal he regretted investing in. He keeps calling it your public tantrum, she said over the phone one night. Like you've hijacked a corporate event instead of calling out two people who forgot your existence on purpose. She was still caught in the middle, still at home while she finished college. She said the air at the house had changed. Thicker. More calculated. Like every interaction was now about image control. I wasn't invited to Thanksgiving. My seat, the one that always faced the window, was given to my cousin Josh. He sent me a photo from the dinner table without context. No caption, no comment. Just the table. I wasn't in it. Honestly? I didn't feel left out. I felt clear. My dorm felt warmer than home ever did. I cooked with my roommate. I called my grandma. I went on a solo walk and bought myself a tiny lemon tart from the French bakery across town, my stand-in for the lemon cake my mom forgot last year. I ate it on a bench. No candles, no singing. Just peace. And then something weird happened. A letter arrived in my campus mailbox. An actual letter. Cream envelope. Familiar handwriting. It was from my dad. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. Inside, 2 pages. Handwritten. Neat, controlled cursive. Like he was trying to keep his tone in check even through pen strokes. Here's what it said. Simon. I've had time to reflect. You embarrassed us. You humiliated your mother in front of our friends. You turned a night that was supposed to be about love into a lecture. I understand that you feel neglected, and I'm sorry if you've carried that for years. I truly am. But what you did wasn't the way to fix it. It was disrespectful. We are your parents. We've sacrificed a lot for you. More than you'll ever understand. Maybe you'll see that one day when you're a parent yourself. Maybe then you'll understand what pressure feels like. I don't know what you were trying to prove. But if it was to hurt us, you succeeded. I hope you're proud. Dad. No apology. Just guilt. The irony? It was the most attention he'd ever given me in 2 pages. I read it 3 times. Not because it confused me, but because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything human inside it. Something tender. Some phrase like, "We miss you," or "We want to do better." It wasn't there. Instead, I folded the letter neatly, slid it into the back of my journal, and wrote something underneath it. I am proud. Not because I hurt them, but because I finally said it out loud. After that, I started writing more. Not texts. Not toasts. Stories. About boys who go invisible in perfect houses. About parents who perform love better than they practice it. About silence, and what grows under it when no one's looking. A professor read one of them. Asked if I'd consider submitting to a contest. I did. 3 weeks later, I got an email. Congratulations. Your piece has been selected as a finalist for the Emerging Voices Essay Prize. And suddenly, the story that started with cold spaghetti and silence had readers. People were seeing me. Not the boy in the corner. Not the problem child. Just me. And that felt louder than any birthday party ever could. When the story was published, it didn't have my parents' names in it. It wasn't even directly about them, not in a way they could sue over. I changed the names, shifted some timelines, made it fiction adjacent. But anyone who'd ever stepped into our house would know. The wallpaper was the same. The coldness was the same. The boy who spoke last at dinner and was always dismissed as sensitive, he was unmistakable. The essay was titled, "What Love Looks Like When It's Conditional." It was short. Just under 2,000 words. But it hit a nerve. It got picked up by a literary blog. Shared on Twitter. Commented on, reposted, annotated in some grad student's Tumblr essay series called Modern Family Ghosts. I started getting messages from strangers. Thank you for writing this. I thought I was the only one. I didn't know other people grew up in houses that quiet. It was overwhelming. Not in a bad way. Just new. And of course, someone forwarded it to my mother. I found out because I got a voicemail 2 days later. She didn't even say hello. Just, "You're cruel, Simon. You're so cruel. I gave you everything. We gave you everything. And this is what you do with it? Broadcast our private life to the internet?" I didn't respond. Because what she didn't understand, what she still didn't understand, was that I hadn't written it to shame them. I wrote it because it was the only way I knew how to survive them. But the ripple effect had started. 2 weeks later, my dad emailed me. Subject line: disappointed. No greeting, no warmth. Just a single sentence. Take the essay down before it costs you the rest of your family. I sat with that sentence for an hour. Reread it until the words lost meaning. And then I did something I'd never done before. I emailed him back. You already cost me the family. I'm just writing down the invoice. I never got a reply. But a week later, my grandma sent me a card. A real one. In her slanted cursive, barely legible unless you squint. Read your story. I'm glad the quiet one finally spoke. That made me cry. Hard. Because I remembered being 10, hiding behind the couch while everyone argued about my sister's future, my dad's business, whether the kitchen tiles needed replacing. No one noticed I was there. Except Grandma. She passed me a napkin with a cookie inside, mouthed, "Keep listening." She never told me to speak. But she never told me not to either. She just made space. Now, here's where the next shift happened. A professor from another university reached out. Said he'd read my piece, wanted to know if I'd consider expanding it into a longer work, something hybrid. Memoir, maybe? Autobiographical fiction. He was starting a mentorship program. Offered to sponsor me. Me. The dramatic one. The background kid. The boy who never got a cake. I called my sister that night. Told her what was happening. She got quiet. Then said, "You're doing it. You're really doing it." I guess I am. You know they'll hate it. I know. You're gonna keep going? Yes. A long pause. Then she whispered, "Good. She's still at home. Still stuck in a way. But I think she's planning something. She asked me to send her the essay. Then she shared it with her best friend. Then her boyfriend. The chain started. I don't know if she'll ever break out fully, but I know this. She started sketching the map. Just like I did. It was a Tuesday when my mom finally showed up at my dorm. I should have expected it. A confrontation like that doesn't stay digital forever. Still, I wasn't prepared to open my door and see her standing there in a belted trench coat like she was walking into a courtroom. She didn't ask if she could come in. She just said, "We need to talk," and stepped past me. I didn't stop her. She looked around like she was scanning for witnesses. The room was small, neat, 2 twin beds, a poster of Toni Morrison above my desk. My roommate was out, thank God. "You wrote about us," she said flat. "You wrote about our family like we were monsters." I closed the door behind her. Quietly. "I wrote about my experience," I said. "You humiliated us. You forgot my birthday. That is not the same thing." "No," I agreed. "It's not. One is a moment. The other is a pattern." She flinched. But recovered fast. "You think we were bad parents?" I paused. "No," I said. "I think you were parents who made a lot of choices that centered yourselves. Who treated love like it had to be earned. Who noticed me more when I was quiet than when I needed something." She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. "We gave you everything," she said. "No. You gave me what looked like everything. From the outside. Simon, I'm not doing this to punish you," I said calmly. "I'm doing it because I needed to put a name on what happened. So I wouldn't keep folding into silence like it was my fault." Her mouth opened. Closed. Then finally, "You've changed." I smiled. That was the point. She sat down on the edge of my bed. The same way she used to sit on mine when I was 5 and had a fever. Only now, she didn't know where to place her hands. "I don't know how to talk to you anymore. That's because you're used to me nodding and saying nothing." Another long silence. Then, quietly, "Your sister's been quiet lately. Distant. She's watching," I said. "Waiting to see how you treat the first person who told the truth." Her face tightened. "And what if I say I'm sorry? What if I admit we failed you sometimes? Is that enough?" I looked at her, really looked. The way she held her purse like a shield. The way her fingers kept twitching to check her phone, like she was already planning how to spin this for the extended family. And still, something about her eyes. Scared. Not of me. Of the mirror I'd held up. I don't need you to say sorry, I said. I need you to understand that I'm not going back. Not to pretending, not to shrinking, not to rewriting things so they fit better in your speeches. She stood up. Smoothed her coat. So what now? She asked. We don't talk? We pretend we're strangers? No, I said. We start from here. If you want to. If you can handle that I'm not who you imagined. She didn't answer. Just stared at me like she was reading a language she'd never bothered to learn. Then she left. Didn't hug me. Didn't say goodbye. But she left the door open behind her. That was the first time I ever saw her walk away without trying to control the story. And for now, that's enough. A month later, I got a package. No return address, but I knew the handwriting. My sister's, sharp, slightly slanted, always wrote in all caps like she was arguing with the paper. Inside were 3 things. A Polaroid photo of us as kids, me with a popsicle-stained mouth, her in sparkly pink sunglasses way too big for her face. We were sitting on the curb, laughing at something no one else could see. A folded-up program from our parents' anniversary gala, with my name still listed under. Toast by Simon Winslow. A note, written on notebook paper torn from the middle of a spiral. Just wanted to remind you, you existed way before their version of you ever did. You're not dramatic. You're honest. Keep going. I'm not far behind. S. I sat with that for a long time. Then I pinned the photo above my desk, right next to a copy of the essay that started all this. By then, the story had already taken on a second life. It got picked up for an anthology about coming of age in fractured families. Someone from NPR's culture desk reached out. They wanted to interview me about intergenerational silence, and what it means to break it. I agreed. Not because I wanted attention, but because someone, somewhere, was probably sitting in their dorm room with a letter in their pocket, wondering if speaking out would make them the villain in someone else's fairy tale. I wanted them to know. Sometimes being the villain in their story is the only way to become the hero in your own. That same week, I went home. For the first time since the toast. Not because they invited me, they didn't, but because my grandma was in the hospital. Nothing dramatic, just a fall, a cracked wrist, a bruised hip. I brought her lemon cake. From the bakery near my dorm. We ate it quietly in her hospital room, just the 2 of us, the way we used to sit in the backyard when I was 10 and hiding from everyone else. You still writing? She asked between bites. Always. Good, she said. Write until they stop calling you dramatic and start calling you necessary. That line stuck with me. Necessary. That's what this whole thing had been about. Not attention. Not revenge. Not some angsty vendetta against parents who meant well but missed too many shots. It was about refusing to be erased. A week later, my sister texted me. Guess who moved out? Then. Landlord's a nightmare, but the silence is mine. I bought a floor lamp and everything. I sent her a photo of my desk lamp with the caption. Welcome to the revolution. We didn't need to say more. We were building something now. Slowly. Separately. Together. And our parents? They stayed quiet. At least for a while. My dad sent me a polite email at Christmas. My mom left a comment on one of my published pieces. So proud, it said. No punctuation. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry. But because I wasn't writing for them anymore. I was writing for the kid I used to be. The one who sat at the dinner table rehearsing silence like it was a script. The one who thought love had to be earned in exchange for space. And now? Now I eat lemon cake whenever I want. I buy it for myself. I light my own candles. I don't wait for someone else to remember I exist. And when people ask what I learned from my parents, I still say, everything. Every single thing. Because sometimes, even the wrong examples still teach you what matters. Especially when you decide what story comes next.